Hello, thanks for clicking on this video, but I can't help but wonder, what made you decide to watch it? Just moments ago, you were aimlessly scrolling through YouTube, then something about the title or thumbnail caught your attention, prompting you to click. But what exactly sparked that curiosity? Seriously, share your thoughts. It could help me boost my views. On a serious note, we have various areas in the brain like the motor cortex, the visual cortex, and the auditory cortex. But where do our decisions stem from? The complexity of this question increased in the 1960s with a new surgical technique introduced for treating severe epilepsy known as a corpus callosotomy, or split brain surgery. Can you guess what it entails? Yes, they literally separate the hemispheres of the brain. While the brain is already divided into left and right hemispheres, they are interconnected by fibers known as the corpus callosum, which are then severed. This disconnection prevents communication between the two hemispheres. Surprisingly, patients often led normal lives post-surgery. Their personalities and functionalities remained intact, yet peculiar phenomena arose like instances where a patient's left hand would start drawing without their conscious awareness. It was almost as if there were two distinct entities within them. This leads to the question, which side is truly in control? I've referenced split brain experiments in previous content, but had yet to dedicate a full video to them. I felt compelled to explore this more deeply, as it transformed my perception of the world, others, and myself after reading Who's in Charge? By neuroscientist Dr. Michael Gazzaniga. He pioneered studies on split brain patients in the 1960s and 70s, and I recommend checking his work out. On a personal note, I've often thought there are different gnomes in my head. Of course, I don't mean actual garden gnomes living in my brain. That would be absurd. Like many others, I sometimes experience conflicting thoughts and rationalizations that make decision-making difficult. Think of it as a mental defense mechanism. This is similar to the portrayal of multiple emotions in Pixar's Inside Out, which I recently watched for the first time. I found the depiction of the emotional landscape inside the character's mind to be wonderfully insightful, displaying how small moments, like a young girl expressing her sadness, can hold significant emotional weight. There's so much to unpack here. Let's start with the reason behind splitting people's brains. The procedure, known as corpus callosotomy, was initially developed in the 1940s as a last resort treatment for severe epilepsy. The mechanics of a seizure involve a surge of electrical activity disrupting normal neuron firing across the brain. This can lead to various symptoms depending on where it occurs, and the most severe cases are those in which seizures spread across the entire brain, causing debilitating effects. For individuals suffering from frequent seizures that disrupt their daily lives, the only feasible option became to contain the seizures. A corpus callosotomy serves to keep seizure activity limited to one hemisphere. It functions like a surge protector. The first instance of this surgery occurred in 1936, when neurosurgeon Walter Dandy accidentally severed the corpus callosum while removing a tumor. He found no significant effect on the patient afterward, which ignited debates about the corpus callosum's role. In 1940, William P. Van Wagenen executed a similar surgery on a patient with epilepsy, observing enough positive outcomes to continue refining the procedure. This was roughly concurrent with lobotomies, another controversial neurological practice of that era. In contrast to lobotomies, which were more widely and often inappropriately administered, split brain surgeries were limited to those with specific, severe conditions and were considered a last resort. The procedure was perfected in the 60s by neuroscientists Joseph Bogan and Philip Vogel, leading to it being seen as a viable treatment. Nonetheless, it resulted in some odd side effects, such as patients struggling to coordinate their hands. One individual reported difficulty buttoning his shirt, with one hand buttoning while the other unbuttoned. More strange occurrences emerged, prompting Bogan to pursue research into these anomalies. He enlisted neuropsychologist Roger Sperry, known for his work on brain circuitry and neuron specificity, to investigate further. Sperry, raised in Hartford, Connecticut, transitioned from a potential career in English to psychology after an experience with a professor who had a disability sparked his interest. He earned advanced degrees and specialized in studying how various parts of the brain interconnect. Once Sperry began researching split brain patients, he devised tests focusing on vision, language, and motor skills. These involved displaying objects to either the left or right visual fields, essential for understanding how each hemisphere processed information. The right hemisphere controls the left side of the body, while the left hemisphere manages the right, albeit in a slightly complex manner. Both visual fields transmit information to their respective hemispheres through the optic chiasm. Sperry wanted to examine how split brain patients processed visual input without a functioning corpus callosum. To that end, he and his graduate student, Gazzaniga, designed experiments while building upon insights from their earlier animal studies. One of Sperry's first subjects, known as W.J., underwent various tests. When shown images on the right, his left hemisphere could articulate responses, labeling objects with accuracy. However, when images were presented to the left visual field, the right hemisphere could not verbally identify them. W.J. claimed that nothing was there. This pivotal moment highlighted the communication gap caused by the severed corpus callosum. In further tests, they utilized a flashing light, instructing W.J. to press buttons upon seeing it. When the left hemisphere received the stimulus, he confirmed it verbally, but after the right hemisphere was signaled, he admitted confusion over his button pressing since he didn't perceive the flash at all, despite his right hemisphere having sensed it. This pattern revealed insights about how the left hemisphere justified, often incorrectly, the actions and choices made by the right. For instance, in one case, when shown a chicken claw and a snow scene, his left hand pointed to a shovel when asked to choose a related image. The patient rationalized this choice as necessary for cleaning a chicken shed, despite his subconscious not having seen the snow scene at all. These findings demonstrated that consciousness isn't singular. Rather, there are distinct forms of consciousness within each hemisphere, often arriving at different conclusions or interpretations. The left hemisphere, acting as the informed interpreter, would justify nonsensical actions from the right, regardless of accuracy. Research continued to reveal disparities in logic and emotional processing between the hemispheres, illustrating their unique capabilities. The right hemisphere excelled in visual spatial tasks, while the left dominated in language and reasoning. In essence, both hemispheres experience consciousness, but in drastically different ways, challenging our understanding of self-awareness. Dr. Gazzaniga sheds light on the complexity of our consciousness, implicating a multitude of contributing factors that govern our thoughts and decisions, much of which occurs without our conscious input. This presents fascinating questions about free will. Many argue that if our decisions stem from predetermined neural patterns, true free will may not exist, and, consequently, accountability could be undermined. However, deeper examination suggests a nuanced interplay of conscious and subconscious influences, a process referred to as emergence theory. This theory explores the concept that intricate systems can arise from simpler elements, highlighting how various brain functions blend to create a unified experience of consciousness. By understanding that consciousness derives from both top-down and bottom-up mechanisms, we can acknowledge that while some of our decisions may be influenced by external programming, we still retain a level of agency. Hence, the question of free will ultimately invites a more layered answer. We operate within predetermined frameworks, but possess the ability to shape our experiences and choices. There's significantly more to explore, especially regarding social interactions and empathy, as well as how our neural mechanisms engage in those spaces. Dr. Gazzaniga's work opens countless avenues for exploration, much of which could yield life-changing insights. Personally, realizing there are factors influencing my thoughts beyond my complete control promotes a sense of peace. It allows me to be kinder to myself when grappling with conflicting emotions or thoughts, making my mental landscape more manageable. On a lighter note, switching to a more effective shaving method, like the Henson razor, has also improved my daily routine. Traditional cartridge razors have undergone a drastic evolution, often leading to inflated costs due to various gimmicky enhancements. In contrast, the Henson razor combines precise engineering with affordability, ensuring a top-notch shaving experience while keeping costs down. Switching to this razor has significantly reduced both wasted resources and expenses. If you're considering upgrading your shaving experience with a better alternative, Henson Shaving offers a range of options worth exploring. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you found value in this discussion. If this topic intrigued you, there are many more psychological explorations available in my past videos. Don't hesitate to subscribe for new insights every week. Have a great day ahead, and I look forward to